tomorrow is off for a lot of schools. So it's like Friday. If you're joining us on Zoom, welcome. We're also live in our Facebook group. So if you're joining us there, welcome as well. If this is your first time joining our Montessori town halls, we're happy you're here. We host these every single Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern as a space for Montessori leaders and administrators to come together and discuss various school leadership topics. We think it's important for you guys to have a space. Obviously, in the leadership position, it can be difficult to talk to staff members about certain topics. You're the one who's making a lot of these big decisions, so it's good to have a support system and just other people that you can discuss these major things with. Every week we talk about a new topic. Oftentimes we have speakers, such as other administrators, sometimes as well as experts or thought leaders in the Montessori space, come and share their expertise. And these are very much kind of an open forum format as well. So you're going to be able to ask questions in the chat, join in the conversation. You can unmute yourself. And usually at the end, we'll have time for a little Q&A. So if you have any questions, comments, ideas you want to share, we welcome that. Today's topic is all about retention, and we're going to talk about retention from a Montessori marketing perspective, as well as how you can host events and offer resources that will encourage retention in your Montessori community. So let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of an overview here. So we're going to get to know each other a little bit in the next slide. I want everyone to kind of introduce themselves. We'll talk about when retention really begins and how early you can start planning on kind of using retention-based language and how you can encourage families from the very start to stay in your community and really live your mission. How good marketing can help with retention long-term, how you can also set expectations so that families know that partnering with your school is a commitment. We'll discuss various retention events that you can offer, as well as retention resources. We'll discuss platforms that you can utilize to encourage retention in your community. We'll be also discussing where we offer support for school leaders in terms of our community, as well as our resources. And then hopefully we'll have time for Q&A at the end. All right, in this little slide right here, I just want us to introduce one another. Feel free to utilize the chat. I know a lot of you are at school, so maybe you can't unmute yourself. But yeah, I'd love to hear, why you joined today's call. Is retention an area you're looking to improve upon? Are you looking to expand your parent education in your community so that you can encourage retention? What are your goals in terms of retention? Do you have ideas that you might want to share? So feel free to comment in the chat and we'll get to know each other before we dive into the presentation.
Camila?
Yes, Wally?
Retention is definitely an issue for us. It's always been, primarily when it comes to the third year retention, and also moving from the third year to elementary, lower elementary. And what I personally feel is that the reason that's an issue for us is because I don't think that we do enough in terms of educating the parents who are already enrolled in the value of the education that children receive, and what the importance is of completing the 3-year cycle. And also, especially the problem is for the lower elementary, because if you have a school district in your area,
right,
that's a tough one to sell. But I think, my take is, if you look at a pure business perspective, if the parents see the value, they will spend the money. And so I believe that, I don't think that our teachers, let's face it, our teachers are not really skilled in marketing. I think that's not their forte. So, so there is somehow we need to have a situation where we're educating our parents enough so that they can see the value. So that's been an issue for us and ongoing for the last 20 years.
Okay, great. All great points, Wally. Thank you for sharing. It's good to know where you're at and what kind of areas you'd like to discuss and improve upon. I see here some other comments. Terry joining us from Montessori Children's Community. Melissa here, one of our main goals is getting children to stay after Children's House and join our elementary program. So similar to Wally as well. Rachel here, Director of Operations, wearing many hats, as we all do in the school leadership positions. In Louisville, we have families that leave for many reasons: financial, kindergarten, 3rd grade, 6th grade leaves, moving out of state, list goes on and on. Tina, hi, I think it's all about retention. One of my goals is to develop a complete parent workshop so they have understanding on all that's going on and what's happening. Lori, joining us from Cosmic Elementary here in Chicago. This is my first town hall. Oh, welcome, Lori. We're happy you're here. And want to attend because I am in a more active role this year in retention, school tours, etc. And Sawyer here, coming from Seattle. We struggle with retention in the kindergarten year because school becomes free and we lose some families at that time. Yep. So I think a lot of us are experiencing some similar pain points, and this is I think across the Montessori space. So hopefully we'll offer a couple of solutions. Obviously, there's no one size fits all, and parents are always going to choose, what's ultimately best for their family. But what we can do in the Montessori leadership space is we can educate, we can nurture, and we can encourage families to live and breathe our mission. So this is, oh, here I have another comment here in the chat. We also have families that return after a year as they find the grass is not always greener on the other side. And then they come back really grateful. And maybe those are the easier parents after they ventured out. But yes, it does happen.
That's actually great for the rest of your community too, because they have this, they can spread that experience of what they had in that when they went outside of your school and now they're back, and they can share the reasons why they came back. We had the same situation in our school for elementary, and it was really great actually, because they communicated with a lot of other parents. So anyway,
yeah,
silver lining.
There's one issue that I see. That we have had situations where children went to public school and then came back. Majority of them are those who have some issues, either social issues or some learning issues or something, in a sense that but if the children basically just a normal run-of-the-mill children, you don't see a whole lot coming back. And so what happens is that our elementary program kind of becomes like a special ed program in some ways. And it'd be nice to try to avoid that. It'd be nice to have some who need some additional push or guidance. But if they become too many of them, then that overwhelms the teacher, and they're not equipped to deal with those kind of issues anyway in the elementary program.
Yeah, I guess they're probably getting more specialized attention than they would in the public school system in a Montessori space. So that's appealing to them, but challenging for your staff sometimes if they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, and that can be an admissions issue as well, if to really make sure that you have the right balance in the classrooms. I know it's not always a luxury because you have to fill those classrooms, but also keeping in mind that like you say, if it becomes a classroom full of children that need extra help, then it kind of throws off the whole dynamic of the classroom, and it also makes it maybe less appealing for families who don't have children in that that experience that. So it's a tough. I know it's a tough balance, and anyway, that's for another town hall, perhaps.
We have another comment here from Carol. Marketing and enrollment takes a large amount of time in our daily work, and many families do not follow up after sending them many voice and email messages. Would like new ideas and strategies to engage families and maintain them at my school, especially upper elementary students. Okay. Yep. Parent engagement is challenging, and oftentimes we send so many emails, newsletters, everything, and we get no response sometimes from some families. It's challenging. So hopefully, we'll aim to address these things throughout the presentation. It looks like we have a lot of similar challenges, so that's good. So hopefully we can come up with some solutions. So diving into retention from the very beginning, we're marketers, so we know that really retention and getting people to live your mission starts before a family enrolls and commits with a partnership at your school. So it's all about, what content you're using, how you're reaching these families, from the second that they make an inquiry to come in for a tour. All of this, there should be kind of an intention of, okay, this joining our community is a commitment. This isn't just, a daycare where you can drop your kids off while you're at work and then you come back and you pick them up and you go home and you check out. This is a different kind of space. We aim to do something different than what a daycare offers. So again, Camille was talking about thinking about admissions. We really believe that retention begins throughout the admissions process. We like to say set expectations early. So be clear about what you do, what you offer, what your programs are about, and what your services are like, and how they're different to maybe a traditional daycare or the public schools, because this is your value. This is what sets you apart. And also, you might not be the right fit for certain families. You might not want those families in your community anyways, if they're not going to appreciate your journey. They're not going to stay on for that third year. They don't want to complete the 3-year cycle. Those are kids that aren't going to get the full benefits of your programs. So we always say retention starts early in the admissions process. So even though it's years in the future, we're thinking ahead. So how can I begin to prepare families for retention? Believe it or not, we think good marketing can help, particularly content marketing. And here's why content marketing works so well. And this is great because content marketing is stuff that you can create as a school if you have the time and capacity to. But really in the Montessori space, marketing is all about educating families. We're not salesy people in Montessori. This isn't buy one, get one free type of market. This is a lifelong commitment. This is a partnership for someone's, child and their future in education. So really it comes with a lot of big decisions for that family. And so content marketing helps parents make a more informed decision about their children's educational future. So those parents who really, felt like they had all of these resources, learned so much about the Montessori philosophy, learned about your purpose, learned about your mission as a school, those are the parents who are usually going to be on board with staying longer, even if they're, paying when they could be getting the kindergarten year for free. They see what you're doing, they see the purpose of it, they see the value in it, and those are usually the parents who are the right fit for your community. So all of your content should really educate families throughout their school search journey, because the reality is a lot of parents are looking at different school models. They're looking at Waldorf, they're looking at Montessori, they're looking at traditional daycares maybe. There's different points in their school search journey. You can explain that Montessori has value over time. This isn't, your child can be in our classroom for 1 year and they're going to reap all the benefits of Montessori. No, it takes time. Development is something that you need to have patience for. Every year is different. And really, it's important from the very beginning, to emphasize the importance of the 3-year cycle, especially that third year, because that, as we know, is probably the most important year, at least in the primary classroom. It's the year where everything comes together, where they become the leaders in the classroom, they become the teachers to some extent. And Montessori is not just a solution to a childcare need. You can make this very clear on your website, on school tours. This is a school. We are here to learn every day. All of our staff are trained are thoroughly trained to understand a child's development. They know exactly what the child needs at every stage. We're here to adhere to the child's developmental needs. This isn't just playtime. Everything is purposeful here in the classroom. We're working towards building a foundation for a strong future for your child. And that's, if that's not what you're looking for, if you're looking for a solution to just leave your kids for a couple of hours because you have to work and you're busy, maybe this isn't the right fit for you. So you start nurturing and you use that language and you really prepare the parent to understand that this is a commitment and they're joining a partnership with your school. So let's talk about what that looks like on your website. And any school can do this, can add this stuff on their website. Number one is website content. So what you have on your website sets the tone right away about all of your services, your mission, and what you offer. It's also a unique opportunity for parents to learn about Montessori directly from you. We talk about this at many of our town halls, but when parents learn about what Montessori is from your website, from your school, you become a thought leader and a trusted source for that parent. So if parents learn what planes of development are from your school website, all of a sudden they're like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I have noticed that my 2-year-old does that and they're interested in these things. You know, it kind of seems to tie together. So, and when they're learning this stuff from you, you're an authority on it and they trust you more. This is why we really think that content marketing works so well in the Montessori space and can help you with retention, because when you are providing all of this information, all of this nurturing to families, they're more willing to stay in your community because they see what you're doing has value. So we always encourage schools to have a What is Montessori page, blogs and articles on their website, parenting resources. You can have a page of, even if it's just links to videos on YouTube that you found that have been helpful, books, podcasts that you find helpful. You don't have to create this content necessarily yourself, but if they're able to find it through your website, that's enough to be helpful. Lead generators. If you don't know what lead generators are, we'll talk about that at a later slide. This is a great free thing you can do in terms of marketing on your website. It also allows you to capture important contact information. We'll discuss that. Testimonials. This is also super important because, again, you don't have the easy job of, oh, we're a traditional school. Parents know exactly what to expect. They've gone through the school system themselves already, probably, so they know what it's like. Nope, we have to set those expectations and we have to share social proof that what we're doing works and has worked so well for others. Also, offer a variety of supporting information. Parents all value different things. There's a lot of parents who value data. They want to see facts, like what studies have shown that Montessori works. You know, what if you can find articles, you know, this many percentage of Montessori children have gone to college, or, you know, here are some great people who have achieved so much and they were Montessori kids. And you can also share success stories in your own community. You can have testimonials from students, from families. You could have video testimonials. All of this is important. And you can even make some testimonials. You can say, you know, please talk about how important it was to have that 3rd year. It's really powerful when you have a testimonial on your website that says, when my child completed the kindergarten year, it was incredible to see how they became a leader. They were confident. And they went into the next chapter, whether that was in a public school elementary or Montessori elementary, with so much self-confidence. So all of these things are just content that you can include on your website that show that what you're doing is special and has value, but it also requires a commitment. I'll show some examples from our Nido site here. So for example, in our program information, we have a whole section here, talk about kindergarten included and why the kindergarten year is included. Because we all know that parents could go for free to the kindergarten year in public school, but they'll be missing out on so much. So you can, again, set the tone as, why is kindergarten included in the primary classroom in Montessori? Why is it 3 to 6? What are the benefits of multi-age grouping? Why do we have a 6-year-old in the same classroom as a 3-year-old? And talking about this directly on your website so parents can go and see, it helps set the tone. So you're constantly mentally preparing and setting an expectation that going into a primary Montessori program is a 3-year commitment. It's not until school becomes free. So again, you can always go on it's nidosite.com. This is our sample school website. You can always visit it for some inspiration, but we always include content that educates families on the unique benefits of Montessori. Also in our Montessori approach page, we talk about how, we're here to adhere to the developmental needs of the child. This is not, a place where children are going to be entertained and they're going to get to socialize. It's deeper than that. It's a educational journey and foundation. We're here to the adults are prepared to meet the developmental needs. The environment is prepared to meet the the developmental needs. So all of these things you can explain, you can break down, and you can say, this is how it works. Because a parent might not know, and they don't see the value in staying in something if they're not aware. And again, them learning it from you from your website is important. Also, in your mission, every school has a mission statement. Focus on an element of, this is lifelong. Once a child, is exposed to Montessori, once they're in the Montessori space, really all of these things stay with them for life. The ability to be self-confident, the ability to discover, the ability to socialize, the ability to have grace and courtesy, all of these things have value. So focus on your school mission, make sure you display that on your website. I know most schools already do this, but I think it sets the tone for what a family can expect from joining your community. Here is an example of a lead generator. So you can have these on your website. These are free for you to put on your website. If you have automations, it's great. But basically it's a piece of information that can help parents make an informed decision or provide a helpful resource that they would want. And another example of this would be gating if you get your tuition on your website. But here's just an example of a fun little white paper, Montessori or conventional, what's best for your family, read the white paper, and a parent could receive the white paper if they put their first name and email address. When they click that orange button that says send me the white paper, they'll automatically receive the white paper in their email. And you can then send them emails to follow up, educate them on the benefits of Montessori, and encourage them to schedule a tour with you. So again, they're getting an important piece of information that explains the difference of Montessori and conventional and which one would be the right fit for them, which is nurturing them. It's showing them the value in Montessori, why it might be beneficial for them long-term, and then you can nurture them into coming in for a school tour. So these are just some ideas of content you can have. Another example is our sample blog. A blog is great to have on your school for many, many reasons. It helps with SEO. It helps keep your website fresh. You can repurpose content over and over again, because once you write a blog on the planes of development, you can republish it 3 years later, and then 3 years later again. And it reaches new parents every time. But parents can come to your website directly and they can learn all of this valuable information about Montessori that allows them to see, what is real Montessori look like? What would I be getting in the classroom? What would my child be experiencing? Because a lot of things are thrown around about Montessori, oh, it's, the child can do whatever they want in the classroom. Oh, your opportunity to break that down and say, actually, we have freedom within limits. You can write an entire blog on it. All of this parent education is going to help you have more committed parents, more engaged families, and help with retention. Of course, there's always an issue of not every parent is going to read every blog, but it doesn't hurt to have it out there. You can share it on social media. You can repurpose this content. So I highly encourage all schools to have a blog. You don't have to post every week. Just try to find a schedule that you can post somewhat regularly and grow your blog if you can. Here's just an example of testimonials. You definitely want to have testimonials throughout your website. So on your homepage, on your program information, because parents need social proof before they commit to Montessori. And also it helps with retention if you have testimonials that are specific to staying in that third year, or being in lower elementary, or why a parent chose to stay with Montessori rather than go to public school once they reach that age where they could have gone for free. So you can always, be strategic with your testimonials. If you can do a video testimonial as well, where you have, students that come back maybe a few years later and talk about their experience, all of this is really valuable. Social proof is really moving, and it really encourages families to consider Montessori more highly. So any questions about content before I'll go back before we move on? And we say marketing, but really it's educating, because we're in the Montessori space. Marketing looks different than in a lot of other spaces. And if anyone has any ideas or things that they also include on their website that has helped, it's great. But your website is really such a great tool for retention. It's your digital footprint, it's your digital presence, and it has a lot of power. All right, marketing for retention, also social platforms. This is a free space for you to post as well. And if you're creating content for your website, such as blogs and articles, it's really easy to just go and post it on Instagram as well. But increasingly, as younger generations become parents, there is a social media presence that's required. So, you can post on social platforms to show how Montessori is really a lifelong philosophy. You can talk about the 3-year cycle in some of your posts. You can post success stories of children who, have done great things in the classroom or beyond the classroom. You can educate families about what goes on in daily life in your classrooms. And you can allow families to explore and see that Montessori is really a commitment. This isn't just a drop off your kids for a few hours to pick them up. This is a journey. The child is going to go through a transformation. They're going to learn so much. Everything is prepared for the child, for their developmental needs. So you can express this through your social media content. And again, it's a free platform that you can run. It doesn't cost you any money to post anything. So I highly recommend having a presence on there and utilizing it to just do fun facts about Montessori, just posting little tidbits that, a parent, you never know, a parent might see it and might remember. Doesn't hurt. Another element of marketing, and we talked about this a little bit with the lead generators, is, capturing that important email information, and then you can utilize email nurtures. Email nurtures are great for the Montessori space because, again, we don't have that luxury of, oh, buy one, get one free. Oh, do that. Our main goal when we're marketing to parents is educating them and providing resources and information about the benefits of Montessori. That's our goal. So we can do this through email marketing, and email marketing is free because when you build your email list, you can send them emails. It doesn't cost you any money. And if you develop a series of different email nurtures, you sit down, you write them once, and you can just automate them. So they send every time you get a new lead through. So you save yourself this manual time, and you're sending them a lot of information that's going to help them make a better decision about their child's future. And when a parent is confident about the decision that they make, about joining your Montessori school, they're likely to trust you more. They understand your mission, and those are the families who are probably going to be committed a little bit longer. Email nurtures work across programs. So if you also are in a position where you're struggling to retain parents who are moving from the kindergarten year to lower elementary, you can create an email nurture specifically for that, leading up to maybe a retention event. So parents are prepared. They have a bunch of information coming into the event. It's given them time to think of the questions they want to ask you. So all of these things are great, no matter what programs you're talking about. It's also more personal than seeing just an ad online when it comes into a parent's inbox. And ultimately, if a parent wasn't interested in seeing any email nurtures or getting emails from you, they would unsubscribe from your email list. So I always say, you can continue to send them content as long as they're not unsubscribed. If you're looking for templates for email nurtures, we provide quite a few on Montessori Thrive. So for those of you who are Montessori Thrive members, we have a variety of different email nurtures, including the importance of the kindergarten year, the transition from lower elementary to upper elementary, why parents should stay in elementary for Montessori. We have some templates for you. So if you're just, it'll save you a lot of time. A big thing that you really want to achieve through your content, through the marketing, through, meeting parents through tours is setting expectations. You're much less likely to lose parents if you tell them from the very beginning, this is a long-term commitment. we at least expect parents to stay for that 3rd-year cycle, to complete the 3-year cycle. If you are noticing that in your school community, you're losing a lot of parents that kindergarten year, and every school is going to lose a couple of parents the kindergarten year, because a big factor of that is cost, a big factor of that is convenience. That even may be anxiety of a parent being like, oh, well, you know, it's one more year for them to socialize with the friends they'll have all through elementary school. So this might be a sign that you really need to set up some type of commitment for families for that 3rd year. So you can be clear about this, that you prioritize spots to families who are willing to sign a commitment agreement, saying, you know, we understand the importance of a 3-year cycle, and we are committed to staying and seeing through the entire primary program. And you can be clear whether it's on your website or in a tour. Montessori is a partnership with families, and we're aiming here to provide a really good foundation for your child. This is, you know, we're setting them up for success, and that requires a partnership and a commitment from families and school. So you can be clear on this. But yeah, set those expectations and manage them as well. You know, be like, you know, if you're not willing to sign the commitment agreement, that's fine, but we are going to prioritize the open spots in our classroom to parents who are willing to commit. And if we've got any space, we'll let you know. But we really want the families who are going to partner with us to stay those 3 years. We have a parent commitment form on Thrive as well. If you're looking for a sample, it can really just be a great way for parents to sign a physical document and understand what's required from them. And our parent commitment, it lists, you know, why parents are agreeing to this commitment, what's expected of them in your community, and why they, you know, why they are agreeing to the 3rd year. So if you want to access it, you can download it. I'd love to know if you have something like this in your community. Feel free to use the chat. Do you use parent commitment forms for the 3rd year? Or it's harder to use them, I guess, for, you know, oh, I promise to keep my child in the elementary program. I think that's a much bigger commitment. But at least for that 3rd year, I'd be interested to know if any of you utilize that. This was actually a donation, a contribution from another school in our community. So I know a Montessori school in our community does use this exact commitment form, and it's worked well for them. And you can make this part of the admissions process or the enrollment process. Okay. All right, let's talk about retention events. Because really, oh, I see here in the chat. We do not utilize a commitment form, but prioritize re-enrollment each year for our current families. Okay. All right, so retention events, I think this is probably what is one of the most important things, because really you have to make those personal connections with families if you want them to stay committed in your community and engaged in your community. So parent engagement will help you with retention. Events are a great way to get parents involved. You can plan events throughout the year that educate families. We're always going to be aiming to educate families. Really, retention is just another word for educating. That's what we're doing. You want to think about what is going to allow parents to see the benefits and the value of Montessori firsthand. This is really going to be the key to keeping parents on longer. They need to see that what we're doing is worth, you know, what they're paying in tuition. It's worth them staying involved in your community. It's worth them being passionate about Montessori. It's worth them being advocates and speaking to other parents like, wow, I really love Montessori. They need to see the value. So come up with ways as well to make these events accessible. I'll talk about it a little bit later as well, but childcare, if you're offering some type of parenting nights or parenting events, open up your home environment, open up one of your classrooms and have staff stay just for maybe like that extra night to look after the kids so parents can come, or you can also offer online after working hour events. Things like that are really helpful. I see here another comment from Rachel. We would love to move to having families not have to re-enroll each year, but they are committed to the school until they tell us otherwise. It's a board decision and I'm in favor of it. Okay. And every school is going to be structured differently. So I know some schools just have that rolling re-enrollment. It's different. There's different levels of commitment, of course. All right, so really the first retention event you might have is your tour, whether it's a tour or open house. This is a great opportunity for you to talk about, the level of commitment that you expect from your families and the fact that working with your school is a partnership. I encourage all schools to provide resources on the success of Montessori during a tour. So you can provide data that has shown that Montessori is, great. You can talk about success stories, explain the 3-year cycle and the benefits of staying in Montessori long-term. So let's say, you're giving a parent who has a toddler a tour. You can talk about the toddler program and then say, well, look, really these first 6 years of life are so important. They're the most important time developmentally speaking for your child. And when they move up to the primary program, it's a 3-year commitment. And those 3 years are really incredible. What can happen in the primary space is really significant. And everything is going to come together when your child is 6. And you're really going to see how powerful Montessori is. And you can set this expectation, even if you're giving a toddler parent a tour. And you can talk about, these 6 years of life are key. They're so valuable and important. So really, your tour is your first opportunity to talk about retention. It's important to set expectations. Again, we love our families to be involved. We want parents to live and breathe Montessori because we've seen how Montessori has transformed so many different households. Parents, they've seen such a difference in their child and they love Montessori. We expect parents to be somewhat participating in our schools, whether that's through observation, whether that's through events, whether that's through parent courses. Talk about all of this at your tour. And again, in your tour, you can explain priority is given to those who are open to a partnership and a commitment. So, if you're really interested in the Montessori journey and seeing it through, we give priority to parents who sign a parent commitment form. So all of these can be things that can help you with retention just from starting out in your tour. Another retention event would be your open house. Every school has some form of open house. It's another great way to just set those expectations. You can educate families on the planes of development, the 3-year cycle, how everything comes together. Again, discuss, we do things not necessarily by grade. We do things by observing children and adhering to their developmental needs. So it's different than traditional schooling. And it requires a commitment. Because if you pull that child out before they've had a chance to complete their cycle, you're really doing them a disservice. So what do families experience when they commit to Montessori? What's the value? Also really encourage having some type of ambassador, maybe a student who's graduated, a family who comes to your open houses and helps answer questions. Because again, social proof is really valuable in the decision-making process and also for retention. Parenting courses, this one's big. If you have the capacity to in your Montessori school, you should absolutely be offering some type of parenting course, parenting class, parenting support. This is an added value that they wouldn't be able to find at any daycare or at a traditional school even. Again, we're here to provide value that they can't find elsewhere and to constantly be educating. When parents have the opportunity to learn, understand what we're doing in the classroom and be able to apply Montessori in their own homes as well in the way that, we've taught them, they really start to see the difference and the value. And when they see that, they're committed to what you're doing. So parent nights should really focus on what Montessori is. So an element of that would be, explaining and breaking down what Montessori is focused on. as well as how Montessori can be brought into the home the appropriate way. So you can discuss this with families. And the reason why I also say how Montessori can be brought into the home is so that parents can see with their own eyes in their own home on their time off from work, how Montessori is not only benefiting their child, but benefiting them. They can see that firsthand. Always provide parents with resources that they can use, whether it's on your website, parent handbook, just always offer all kinds of resources. Provide applicable practices. This is really helpful. Again, things that they can do at home, whether that's positive discipline, whether that's what to do in a tantrum situation, potty training, all of these things that parents can do at home and they can utilize. And come up with fun and unique ways to get families involved. And also understand that not every parent is going to show up. Make these events accessible, make them online friendly. You can record them. You can create notes. You can personally email all of the parents who don't show up. So you can say, oh, we noticed you weren't there, but here's everything we covered. Maybe we'd love to see you at the next course. You don't need to be, super pushy, but you can definitely make a point that, this is important information that we're providing here. But yeah, there's always going to be those parents who never show. And usually those are the parents who should show, but yeah, that's just a reality. Just some examples of some parenting courses you can offer. And this is just a couple. There's so many you can offer, and listen to what parents are complaining about. What do they want to learn more about? You can have a session on planes of development. This really helps parents have a deeper understanding of what their child's developmental needs are and how a Montessori classroom is prepared to meet those needs. And guess what? Usually a traditional classroom isn't necessarily built out that way, or a daycare. So they're going to see the value in that. Positive discipline. This shows parents how things are handled in the classroom. So how do we approach, when a child is acting up or does something that they shouldn't be doing? And that way they can also communicate and respond to their child in that way. And they can see how, gentle parenting or positive discipline can really be beneficial. You can have a whole session on tantrums. I think we held a parenting session because at Thrive, we host parenting sessions. And one of our most attended one was tantrums, because this is a problem that every parent wants to know what to do, because every parent has gone to a grocery store and had their child throw a tantrum and everyone looks at them. This is a real problem they have to deal with, and they want a solution. And when it comes from you and they see how a Montessorian would do it, it really, it comes together and they see the value. The prepared adult is another great session you can offer. You can walk parents through how they can prepare themselves for every developmental chapter, whether that's having an adolescent child. Here's what to expect during the teenage years. They're going to be tough. This is what your child might be experiencing. These are their values. It prepares the parent. And also you can talk about the Montessori environment, which shows families how they can create an environment that encourages development at home. I'd love to hear if I missed anything, what other courses you provide at your school. Comment, unmute yourself, share. We're always looking for ideas, but provide these. And also you can always record them. So if they take a lot of work to put together, you can record them and post them on your website. So they're always available. You can email them to parents who didn't show up to the actual live session. If you're a Montessori Thrive member, we have slideshow presentations for these courses that are already put together. So you can just access them and have a teacher read them out and answer questions. So you don't have to actually go through the work of putting together all the slides. You can just make a few tweaks. But these are just some great ideas for courses. Another one is parent socials. Build community. So it doesn't all have to be learning about Montessori. It can just be creating a social space and community where parents can come together. When parents feel that they're a valuable member of a community, they're less likely to leave, and this can help you with retention. When they feel like, wow, this community sees me, they see my child, I have a space, I have friends, I have a support system, why would I leave? So it could be helpful. Things like book clubs are fun. You can have a parenting book club that families can discuss various parenting books, and it can be fun. You can offer some snacks. You can say we meet once every other month. Coffee meetups, you can organize this as well, even doing like a carpool coffee, where parents can maybe you have a parking lot and you can say, oh, we're going to have a social hour. We're providing free coffee and donuts. Come say hi to other parents before you head off to work. Potlucks, This is a great way for just social. Also, if you have any fairs and festivals at your school, definitely invite families so they can meet one another. They can get someone involved. You can also set up parent committees. If you have some type of parent committee or opportunities for volunteering at your school, this is great. These are the parents who are most involved. They're the most engaged, and they're the ones who are going to become your ambassadors in the future. So nurture those people because they're going to help you when it comes to retention down the line by inspiring future families to live and breathe Montessori just like they have. If anyone has any other ideas for social events that they host in their community, please comment. I'd love to hear. I know some schools have done like a wine and cheese night. Some don't want to serve alcohol on the premises. That's fine. You can always do coffee.
At the beginning of the school year, we always have a new parent social, and we started offering it was COVID, so it was a sidewalk social, so we could be outside and distance from each other. But it really was great. So we invited every new family to come, and then at that point is when we would introduce families who had agreed to be mentor families. So it was not the entire school, it was just a little bit smaller, didn't feel as overwhelming, and new families got to meet each other, and then also talk to families who had, who have been here a while and could talk more about it.
Great. And it's great that they hear from the families who've already experienced your school because it gets them more excited. They could ask questions. So that's great. I see here in the chat, Rachel, to get parents in to observe, we incorporated observations with birthday celebrations, 10:30 observation, 11 a.m. birthday celebration, 11:30 to 12 lunch in classroom with child. We have made this mandatory. Yep. And really observation should be a huge aim, because when a parent sees their child in the classroom, we never know how the child's going to be on that day, but usually they come away being like, wow. And every year, if they come even every semester, they see a huge growth. So yeah, definitely encouraging parents to come in for mandatory observations is huge, because again, they need to see the benefits firsthand if they're willing to commit and stay in your community. All right, thank you for sharing. If anything else pops in your head, feel free to drop it in the chat. Moving up nights. This can be for kind of those challenging moments where a parent is either committing to the third year or moving up to the next program, whether that's going from like toddler to primary or primary to lower elementary to upper elementary, etc. Really, you should be having an in-person event or at least a Zoom event if you really can't get parents to come in person. But you should really be answering all of their questions and telling them exactly what they can expect from the program and why they should stay. And this should be done, face to face, because this is a big decision. So invite student or parent ambassadors to these nights if you can. So you can invite a successful upper elementary student, invite a lower elementary student just to talk about what they're excited about, what they accomplished in the classroom. You can also provide information about what happens if a family chooses to leave your community. So you can talk about it. You can say, oh, if you choose not to stay with us, we will help you with a transition. Public school is different. There's standardized testing, there's different curriculum, but we know that your child will, if anything, be over-prepared for what comes next. So we're here to help you with the transition. If you choose to stay with us, know that the curriculum you're getting is going to be developmentally appropriate for the child. They're going to get to experience all of these things in the program. And here's a child who has experienced it, and they're giving a testimonial and they're answering parent questions, or a parent who sometimes, if it's a younger program, a parent can also discuss what's been successful for their family. Bonus as well, you can offer the free childcare on these nights. So parents show up, open up your home environment room or your classrooms to students. This just makes it so much easier for parents to come knowing that, oh, I don't have to hire a babysitter or worry about childcare. I can just come with my whole family. We'll drop them off for an hour. We'll listen to the school's case about why we should stay, get our questions answered, etc. I see here in the chat, Carol, we have an annual event for our parents. They tell their stories. We celebrate them with food and drinks, very uplifting and a reminder of why we have our school. And community is a big factor of why people would want to stay. So it's great to focus on community building events, because when they leave your community in a public school, a lot of schools don't have the same structure for community event and connectivity that you might offer at your school. So it's a huge selling point. Does your school host any other events dedicated to retention? What's special about them? I know a lot of you guys already shared. If you have anything else about how you communicate your message to families that they should stay, let's discuss. Whether it's a parenting course, whether it's just a social event, feel free to share. I'll move on to the next slide, and if anything comes up in the chat, I'll read it out. So retention resources, we covered a lot of these already, but really educating families is key if you want them to live and breathe Montessori. Just examples of things you can provide. Again, book lists, parenting videos, a podcast, blog, articles, newsletter, social media, parent handbook. All of these things you can utilize to be opportunities for parent education. You don't have to use all of them, but you should have a few at least. When parents learn about Montessori through you, it's powerful, and that's going to help you retain families. Camille, do you want to talk about, this is just an example?
Sure. So this is the school that I used to work at, and we would put together, actually the parent programs had a backside as well. I don't know if you made a slide out of that one, but
Nope.
This year this was obviously a while ago, but a speaker and film series. So, and we opened it up to the greater community as well. And then, but on the right was really the meat of it was the parent program. So the very beginning of the school year, parents would get this flyer, and so they could mark their calendars and see what the topics were for the parent education evenings that we had scheduled for the year. I think on the back of this flyer, there was also a list of parent coffees and dates and topics that we would have. And then those were monthly, as well as a book club with the books and the dates and everything for that. So it really was a way to show parents that like this is this is our plan this year for helping you to understand Montessori. They could mark their calendars. These also went into the admissions packets, so the prospective families could see how much effort that the school would put into parent education and engagement. So I just thought that this would show just an example of how you can kind of lay out a year's worth of parent events and education. And you can see here too on the parent programs, I know we're not supposed to use that term anymore. The Montessori journey is now trademarked, but for all levels. And then we would mark it, Discover the Upper School. We were always trying to get parents to stay through to our adolescent program. So all levels were invited to that. And then specific ones for elementary, primary, adolescent program. And then again, wrapping up with, this was, we went through all the levels with how math was presented. So anyway, just thought that this could maybe be some inspiration to some of you for how to set up some programs at your school.
Camille, can I share the PDFs in the chat? Because that might include the back for the people who are joining the call.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll at the end of the call, I'll just submit these two PDFs. Okay, that way you can take a look at front and back of these documents if you're looking for some inspiration. But yeah, it's great. Again, this helps set expectations, because it just shows, this is what you're signing up for when you join with us. This isn't, again, just a place where you can drop off your child. This is where you also come to learn, and you have resources and you have community and support as a parent.
I was just going to say the other thing we had, and I think a lot of schools do this. No, I'm not muted, is a lending library. So, as Montessorians and parents and everything, you start to accumulate a lot of books. And so we just put them on a shelf, and prospective parents or current parents could could borrow books. And maybe it's just about, you know, toilet awareness, or, you know, positive discipline, or all these different resources to make available for parents. So I'll put those in the chat, those other ones.
No, these are all great ideas. Yeah, I think that you can never have too much. I think it's great to just provide these resources, and some parents will be, you know, more involved than others, but it never hurts. Another point is always look to improve. We're always going to have those families that we do lose. It's just a reality. Ask parents to fill out an exit survey. This can be a short questionnaire, just being like, oh, we're sorry that you're moving on to the next chapter. We'd love to hear your insights. We're always looking to improve. We want to hear your feedback. And yeah, maybe it was about cost. Maybe it was a financial decision. Maybe they did have to move away, but still you can get some feedback from them. And it can show you what areas you need to focus on. Maybe, you know, if cost is a huge issue, obviously you can't reduce your tuition. You have a cost to run your programs, but maybe you can figure out or raise money for financial aid for some families. Or if it's hours, maybe you can provide an extra hour of daycare or home environment room. If it's value, you know, you can ask, well, where can we improve? What can we offer more of? Parent education. Do you want more parenting courses? Are you not seeing the benefits of Montessori in your own home? How can we show you, you know, there's value here? So it's always good to get feedback and see what areas you can improve. I see Camille shared the flyers and the chat. So if you wanted them just for some inspiration, you can download them. Again, some platforms that you should be utilizing. We covered these, but you can use these platforms as much as you want for retention. Your website, your email for email nurturers, newsletters, social platforms, your brochure, your flyers, all of your promotional material can have areas dedicated to retention and staying in the 3-year cycle and staying in Montessori. So utilize this. If you're looking for resources and you're a school leader, we are here to help. We have our Facebook group, which is Montessori Thrive. So join our Facebook group. We can ask questions there. You can connect with other Montessori school leaders. We also have Montessori Thrive, which is our membership site. We have marketing content, things like email nurture templates, parenting course slides. We also host a virtual parenting course that's live every single February and October. And how we do this is every week of that month on Wednesday, we meet in the evening and we have a parenting expert in the Montessori space, whether that be a coach, a consultant, sometimes a Montessori guide who joins and talks about a certain topic, and parents can join for free if you're a member school. And they can just come to learn for that hour. And we also record them. So if they miss a live, they can always watch the recording, but it helps take a little bit off of pressure off of your staff. We also have a leadership forum where you can ask questions and connect with other leaders, and it's private. So no parent is going to see your complaints about them or your questions about any challenges you might be having with your staff. So it's just aimed to provide a support space for school leaders. All right, that's all I have. I'm just going to stop sharing, discuss anything, any questions. Is there anything else you want to get inspiration for in terms of retention? Did we answer those questions at the start?
Real quick question. How many people in the schools represented here work on marketing, recruitment, retention? We have an amazing director, a wonderful assistant director, but it's a huge job. So if anybody else would like to chime in, how many people in your school actually work kind of in this avenue?
For my school, it's just me, you know. Our school is about 80 students, and I'm the only admin. We do have someone who helps in the office, our office administrator, but yeah, it's a lot of work.
Sawyer said just me as well. We have 195 students with 3 admins.
I think it's often the person who does admissions is the person who's doing the marketing part too, and marketing is internal marketing too. So retention, enrollment, that type of thing, I think. But like, as Tina said, sometimes it's, you know, we wear many hats, right? So.
Rachel here says, for us, it's our admin team. There are 4 of us: head of school, director of operations, director of comm, and director of admissions. Okay.
Yeah.
We work as a team on everything. Yeah, and honestly, thinking about marketing and retention, it is a full-time job. It is a lot. Especially creating content to help educate families. It's time consuming. Coming up with the courses, putting that content on your website, writing a blog. And oftentimes we don't have the time. That's the reality.
Mila, I just feel that admissions marketing and retention is really, you really have to dedicate one person full time to really make it happen.
Mhm.
It's not something you take an hour here, an hour there, and all that. It doesn't work. There has to be a very consistent plan and process in place. And right now, one person who's working with me is out on maternity leave. So now the 3 people are trying to piecemeal it, the enrollment process and this and that, and it becomes a mess.
I agree, Wally, it is full-time, to make it work well. It
Yes.
really, it is a full-time job.
Rachel here says, we need parents to read what we create. We revise, we proof, we edit, we publish. We just need them to read it. Yes. You're already getting 2 thumbs up on that. I think everyone can relate to that. We do put a lot of time and energy into creating this content and educating families. And
Maybe
and
we
it-
should do our podcast town hall again, and just, it's pretty easy to read it. You know, I know that takes more time on our part too, but maybe parents can just listen to it in the car. You might have an easier time of getting them to absorb the content.
yeah. Oftentimes, yeah, parents will be more likely to listen to an audiobook or a podcast and actually read something, because that requires their eyes and full attention.
Make it 5 different like Instagram posts that they can swipe through. Maybe they'll read it that way. I'm half serious with that one. I'm not really serious.
Repurpose your content as much as you can and post it everywhere. There's still going to be a lot of parents who realistically speaking are just not going to read your content, but it's still helping you market your school, and it's still helping you with retention. We know, because a huge part of Montessori marketing is content. It's just coming up with that content. Any other questions, comments? Here Rachel says, we've gotten them in the habit of not telling them the answer when responding to an email, but dictating them to where the answer is, aka transparent. Yep. Yeah, make them read through the content you send. Don't just say, oh, here's the answer.
Help them help themselves, right? So, well, we're a few minutes over. I hope this was helpful for people. And so admire everybody who's out there doing the hard work here. It's a lot. So.
I'll post the recording to this town hall later today. So if you want to reference it or you want to look back on any of the ideas, you'll be able to do so from our YouTube channel. Enjoy your long weekend. If you're having a long weekend, I know for most of you, it is a long weekend. So enjoy some time off and rest. We'll see you back next Thursday. Until then, take care, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Bye, everyone.